that time. So welcome to today's meditation time. I hope that you're in a spot where you are comfortable and that as you allow your eyes to close, your body can just really settle in and just bring yourself, almost like you're inviting yourself into that space where you are, a spot which is familiar to you. And so wherever you have landed today, just settle in. Let's begin with a few breaths together. So in whatever way you are seated or lying down, whatever spot you found your way into, let's take a slow, deep breath in together. And just exhale, let that go. And a slow breath in together. Exhale, release. One more together, breathing in and breathing out. And just really welcoming yourself into this present moment, into the space where you are. And allow your mind just to focus on the here and the now. There'll be many things that come across the mind, across the thoughts, that try to distract you, that try to pull you away and remind you of all the things that you need to do and you should be doing. But as those things come up, just let them drift away. And come back to your focus on your breath. Come back to the here and the now. And as I was thinking about what words to guide us with tonight, what words to usher us into these few moments of quiet that we have, I think it's very appropriate that we settle in on the fact that tomorrow is Memorial Day. And I've been thinking a lot in the last little while about the concept of memories, the concept of these lived experiences that we all have. And if I were to ask each of us to start dividing those into two buckets of the memories that we cherish and we want to hang on to and the memories that we would just as soon forget, I have a feeling for most of us it'd be pretty easy. There's a pretty clear line about those memories that they bring a smile to our face, they bring lightness to our heart. There's a sense of nostalgia, and then there's memories that we want to just push away, lock away, even forget. But just as if we're sitting here tonight, in the same way, that mind, it does try to take control. Sometimes I think it thinks that it's smarter than we are. And just as we are sitting here or lying here tonight and it's trying to distract us and take us all these different directions, it does the same with our memories. In yoga, we call this samskaras. And the way I always describe these memories, these lived experiences, is they're like thumbprints on our brain. They don't go away. They are part of these things that we've experienced. They're part of these things that brought us to this present moment. And again, some of those we'd put in the bucket of cherished moments, and others not. And so I want to just pause as you're continuing just to take slow, deep, steady breaths. Just pause and just sit for just the next few breaths with this concept of memories. And just think to yourself, just ask, how much power, how much influence do my memories have in my moment, now, in my today living, in my present living? Just reflect for just a few breaths. And it's really interesting that I would ask you that question in meditation, because in meditation we are so focused on the present moment. So the idea of checking in with all the things that have already happened, it almost seems a little counterintuitive. But what meditation asks us to do is to become so aware so aware of our breath, aware of our physical state of our body, and aware of what our mind is doing, aware of those thoughts that come across the mind's eye, those thoughts that linger, those thoughts that come again and again and again. And so as we find this state of awareness, it does ask us to kind of sit with those memories a little bit. Which is why I think sometimes for folks, meditation is really difficult. Because we already lived the experiences and we sure don't want to go through them again. But as we learn to sit with them, we start to understand the influence that they have over our present moment living, our today living. And I would venture to say that every one of us wants to be here and now. We want to live in the present moment. We want to look up and see the sunrise and marvel at it. We want to be present with that person that's the most important to us when they're talking to us. We want to be present and focused in all the things that we find meaning in today. But those memories, they're tough. They're strong. They're influential. And for some of us, maybe some of us here right now, maybe others listening later, I would venture to say for this, that there's some of us who we think our memories completely define who we are. And if you're not in that situation now, there's a chance that maybe at some point in your life, you felt that way. And it became so difficult to find the present moment because you couldn't get out of the past. I heard a quote not long ago from a movie trailer of all places. And I had to pause it and listen to it again. And I thought, this is it. This quote represents our understanding of what's already been lived, already been experienced, and how to reconcile that with who we are now. And it says, in the book of every soldier's life, the military is a chapter. That's it. It never leaves you. It's always part of you. But it's not the soldier's whole book. It's not the whole story. When I heard that quote just a few weeks ago, I knew Memorial Day was just around the corner, and I thought, how perfect. And whether you have a connection to a military background or to a soldier that's in your life and in your family, there's a chance that you could replace part of that with whatever your thing is. We've all had trauma. And the trauma is a chapter. That's it. It does not leave you. It is part of you. But it's just a chapter. It is not the whole book. And so this idea of reconciling our past lived experiences with who we know we want to be now, I think it's somewhere in understanding what that quote's trying to teach us. And some of our chapters are really long and really big and really full. But they're not the whole book. And so I'd like us just to pause, because that concept is going to affect each of us differently, depending on how much your past, how much your memories are still keeping a foothold in your life, or how much you've come through and you remember how it was to have them holding this really prominent place in your everyday living. It's just part of being human, But this practice teaches us that as we sit in this awareness, we can reconcile this chapter that's already happened with the chapter we are writing right now. This chapter is happening now. With every breath in that you take, there's a new part to your story. And so let's just sit and focus on that breath, allowing us to focus on the here and the now. And realizing our book's not done. Our story's not complete. One breath in, one breath out. And as you're continuing to breathe, continuing to sit or lie where you are, if it feels comfortable, just bring one hand and put it right there at heart center. Because chances are that's where the influence of a lot of these memories are sitting, right there at our heart. And just notice how it feels. But then think about how that hand, it's almost in this protective spot over our heart. Like this idea that we're going to be okay. We will get to a point where the memories that we experienced, the memories that still try to force their way into today's present moment, eventually we'll begin to reconcile and realize they are truly part of us. They are a chapter, but they are not the whole story. And I think our soldiers, the people that we honor with this holiday tomorrow, are some of the best examples of how much memories try to have a foothold in today. But for those of us who have experienced real deep trauma, as have I want to tell you that when you allow the memories to continue to have the foothold in today's present moment living, you're living it again. So my hope and my wish, my desire for each of us is that at some point we'll begin to realize, I've already lived that chapter. I don't want to repeat it. I'm ready for this chapter right now, the chapter that I nurture and I foster and I develop in meditation, on my yoga mat, in nature, in my quiet time. I want this chapter to be the one I'm focusing on. Because that other one, it already had my attention long enough. So just allow your hands to come to rest. I don't say these things lightly, and I know that we won't just rise up from this spot and be ready to be present and have all the memories just tucked away and that chapter closed. But I do hope that we'll keep this as a focus area for each of us. We've already had lived experiences, and we have experiences today that are waiting for our attention for us to live them now. Personally, relationally, professionally, in your family, there are experiences now, today, that are waiting for your attention. Maybe as Memorial Day makes its way across our calendar tomorrow, you can honor the memories, honor the chapter, and then look up at the big blue sky and see the potential and the possibility of the here and of the now. Namaste.